The purpose of this video is to discuss the steps necessary to actually put the holes in this face for exercise P4-14. In addition, P4-14 is the only assignment this week that has some difficulties in the way things are going to be laid out. So it's essentially going to be the only one that we're really going to talk about. The rest of them are pretty self-explanatory. Now, what I've done is I've already gone ahead and drawn the bulk of the overall shape of 4-14. And really what I want to do is just show how to put in the dimensions for these holes. To do that, I'm going to do a sketch on this surface. Now, what I need to do is I need to do an additional line coming off the back of here. This additional line is going to serve as a base point for how these holes get laid out. Now I can draw a line straight down to there, and then another line that's going to be straight down to that point. This is going to have a distance of 48, and by actually putting in a dimension, it's going to lock it into a certain location right here. This one right here has a dimension of 32. Okay, now with this sketch being done, you can see that that's going to give me a basic layout on the top view once I get to the point where I need to put in those holes. So I'm done with this sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch on this view. And what I'm going to do is project my geometry, and I'm going to project this line, and I'm going to project this line. Now what it does is it makes a weird projection that comes out over here, but I'm not necessarily concerned about that. What it does give me is it gives me an endpoint that I can use to draw in a guideline. These two guidelines are a representation of where those holes are going to be placed. So next I'm just going to do points. I'm going to put 2 points on this one and 2 points on this one. Now I should be able to just come in here and now dimension these. This one is 20, and you see that that turns black. From this point to this point is 20, and that turns black. So essentially, since I've created this in 2 separate views, it's made things a little bit easier. Now what I will end up with is one sketch that is not consumed, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now that I've got these 4 holes laid out, I can go to my hole command, and it's going to automatically detect those 4 holes. They all go through all, and they all have a size of 12. So I'll go ahead and say OK to that. This sketch that is not consumed, just right click and turn off the visibility. Even though it's not consumed, it's still a very necessary sketch for this piece. Now I can go ahead and do the rectangular portion representing the cutout on the bottom face. It has a height of 10. It has a width of 28. And if we do a little bit of math, we figure out that it is 16 to the inside, so we'll just put in a dimension right here, 16. Now I can do an extrude on this, doing a cut through all. I'll say OK, go up to the top, do a sketch on the top, and I'm just going to do the same thing up here. Rectangle, draw out the rough size of this. The size of it in the top is 15. And it is also 28 and 16 from the edge. I can now extrude this using the cut through all, say OK, and now all I'm left with is those last 4 little holes. 2 of them are diameter 8 and 2 of them are diameter 6. So I'm going to place the holes down here first. We'll just go to the hole command, and it's going to be on here. Up from the bottom it is 5. In from the edge it is 8. It does go through all, and these have a diameter of 6. So once I have that 6, I can say apply and go ahead and put in the specs for the next hole. Apply that, and we'll now swing up to the top. All I have to change is this from 6 to 8, and now I can go back and continue to pick from the back edge. This is 8, and 8, apply, 8, 8, and apply. That's going to be the method used to develop this particular assignment. Now, one thing that I want you guys to think about as you do this assignment, the way these holes are located in the book, is that the most appropriate way to locate these holes? So when you guys do your top, front, and right side views, think about what would be the best way to lay out these holes if we were doing this based on the top, the front, and the right side. The way that the book does it is good in theory, but the person that actually has to manufacture this piece is probably going to pull his hair out when he gets to those 2 dimensions. So just something to think about. And like I said, the rest of the assignments for this week are pretty self-explanatory.